Today we're looking at something that's a fascinating problem to have.
We're diving into the story of SupaMoto and Lusaka.
A clean cook stove company that got product market fit so right, so fast, that their whole system, it just about collapsed under the pressure.
And that's our mission today, isn't it? To really analyze that critical transition point, the moment where genuine customer demand starts to outpace the systems you built in the early days.
Yeah, because we're not talking about a failing product here.
Not at all. The technology is brilliant. The customer enthusiasm is real. This is all about how SupaMoto met that challenge head on.
And here's the hook, the core insight we're chasing. You hear from customers, I love this stove.
It cuts my cooking time in half.
Exactly. And the fuel costs, they actually fit my budget. That's the dream scenario. But then that very enthusiasm is what exposes how fragile the foundation underneath it all really is.
At first.
The validation for SupaMoto was just immediate.
So powerful. Oh, completely. This organic, almost relentless word of mouth.
Every single customer we looked at reported neighbors constantly asking, how do I get one? How do I join SupaMoto?
And that kind of pull from the market is the clearest signal you can get. It proves you're solving a real deep-seated need.
But that growth is exactly what started to cause the stress points.
Right. And it's so important to frame this correctly. The constraints we see, they weren't signs of failure.
No.
They were the expected result of trying to run a huge operation on systems that were designed for a small pilot.
We're talking spreadsheets, manual coordination.
Things that naturally break when thousands of people start depending on you every single day.
And you see the struggle so vividly in the details, in what the customer actually goes through.
Yeah.
For instance, because the distribution logistics weren't there yet, you had customers carrying these huge bags of fuel pellets.
Like 20 or even 50-kilogram bags.
Over 5 kilometers, just to get them home.
And then you layer on top of that the external factors, things they couldn't control.
Like the extreme load shedding in Zambia. That was a huge one. So stoves would break down.
And because the parts inventory was depleted or the manual logistics just failed.
Some customers were left with a broken stove for up to 3 months.
And that's when SupaMoto realized that patching problems, being reactive, was never going to work at scale.
They had to change their entire mindset.
Exactly. They moved from plugging leaks to building a whole new operational architecture. That's when they brought in IXO.
Okay, so rebuilding your whole operational system. That sounds expensive. It sounds slow. Is there a risk there of killing the agile thing that made you successful in the first place?
That's the strategic question, right? But they chose a system that focuses on creating a permanent, verifiable record for every single physical asset.
So every stove gets what, like a digital ID?
Essentially, yes. It tracks its entire history, from the factory to the customer's home to the last service call. It gives them real-time inventory and a history they can trust.
I can just imagine the relief for a field manager who was living on WhatsApp before that, trying to coordinate everything with zero real-time data.
Total game changer. And that asset system is then managed by what they call a flow engine.
Which is basically governed workflows.
Precisely. So a customer reports an issue. The flow engine instantly checks the warranty, verifies the part is in stock, and assigns the technician. All the manual chasing just disappears.
And what's really fascinating here is how it lets them scale their service team.
This is the strategic benefit. They can certify local community members to do repairs.
So they scale capacity without bloating their own overhead. It's distributed.
But how do you handle payments in a distributed system like that? That's always the risk, right? Fraud.
So how do they solve that?
The verification loop.
Well,
The flow engine pays that community technician instantly, but only once the service is confirmed and verified in the system.
so that verifiable trust layer is what makes the whole thing work. It lets them scale across a huge area without losing financial control.
That's it.
So to wrap this up, the big lesson is the technology was there, the product market fit was undeniable.
But it's the infrastructure underneath that separates a great pilot project from an organization that can deliver lasting change at scale. They built that trust layer.
So if product market fit is the sprint,
And SupaMoto absolutely won that sprint.
then operational infrastructure is the marathon you have to run to sustain it.
That's a perfect way to put it.
Which leaves an important question for you, the listener. What are the key elements of your current fragmented systems? The spreadsheets, the manual workarounds, that could become the primary constraint in your next phase of growth.